Tell us your name and what you do.
My name is Gbenga Ogunjimi. I'm an impact investor, and I'm also an author.
So today, what are your expectations for the event for today?
African Investors is a great platform to connect with institutional investors and just anyone really thinking seriously about Africa as an emerging market. So my expectation here is to connect with more investors and potentially connect with investment opportunities.
And I believe this is not your first time coming to this event. So based on your last time at the event, what are the new expectations that you're having towards this new one in year 2018?
Well, really, just to one of the things I like is how they really globalize opportunities for investments in Africa. Not just so much whether it's Africans or the U.S. There are a lot of investments. Fund managers, pension funds, both in European markets as well as American markets. So it's a very global opportunity. So pretty much my expectation is to expand the network of investors' opportunity and also partners for the specific development projects, investment projects I do on the African continent.
Awesome. So at the beginning of this interview, you said you're an author.
Yes.
And tell us the title of the book.
Well, my new book is called Borderless Voice, The Power of Telling Your Story and Defining Your Identity.
Powerful. So just tell us the main inspiration behind your title, giving your book that title, Borderless Voice, The Power of Telling Your Story.
Well, really is this idea that everyone has a story to tell. And empowerment starts when you take on the responsibility of telling your own story by yourself, and rather than letting someone else tell your story for you. So right now in African Investors, there's a lot of conversation around changing the African narrative. So whether it's an individual or a nation, organization, or a continent, you just have to tell your story by yourself. And once you do that, you change perception and then you create new opportunities. That is what the book is all about.
So telling your story in order to create perceptions and opportunities. So tell us what you went through while you were putting the story together. What was the thinking that was going through your mind, and why did you think, okay, it's time for me to put this out there, it's time for me to let people, to create the platform for people to start telling their story to change the world? What was going through your mind during that process? Because I know writing is not something you just wake up and do. It requires a lot of focus, it requires a lot of consistency, and it requires a lot of thinking. So what were those thinking that was going through your mind that sparked up the writing process?
Well, prior to that, I was working in capacity of a life coach, and I was coaching people to tell their story, to really change their narrative and give themselves permission. So I worked with quite a number of people, and opportunities presented themselves, like capturing their stories. I was distributing these stories on several platforms, and I thought there might be an opportunity here to amplify the stories that come from my coaching conversations. So obviously with their permission, I decided to start putting these stories together and finding a common thread and extrapolating the insights from those stories that anyone else can apply to themselves. Personally, in terms of my own career trajectory, I just asked myself the question, who am I becoming? So rather from going from a social entrepreneur to an international entrepreneur to an impact investor to a life coach, I thought it was time I became an author and really captured the stories and put it out there to inspire more people to find their own voice.
That's a powerful question. Who am I becoming? And I believe everyone should always ask themselves these questions. Who am I becoming, in order to find out your purpose in life? So if we want a copy of the book, how do we get a copy of the book? How do the audience get a copy of the book?
The book is available on my website, Gbenga.org. It's also on Amazon. It's on local bookstores, large in the United States. If you're outside of the United States, Amazon is definitely a location. Or my website, Gbenga.org, is the location to get the book.
Okay. So what's the powerful thing that you want your audience to hold on to after reading the book? I believe it's gonna be a wide variety of things to hold on to, but there's always something that you want them to connect with. What would that be?
Well, that would be this idea that their stories, their greatest asset. Your story is uniquely yours. No one has your story. Think about it like your fingerprints. You are the only one with your story. And oftentimes, a lot of people discount how powerful their story is, or some people even say my story is not audience worthy, or no one is interested in a story like me. So I want people to shift that mindset and really start thinking internally and seeing that their story is the greatest asset that they have. And once they assume the responsibility of honing that and telling their story, they shift first their own perception, and secondly, the perception of the people around them. And that becomes their identity, their brand identity. And that makes them really unstoppable, and they can do whatever they want.
Good. So, do you have a favorite quote that you would like to share with us? To inspire everyone, what's your favorite quote?
I would say your story is not your past till date. It is your proximity to your dreams. And once you tell your story, you activate a tribe. And it is in that tribe where all the magic and miracle happens.
You will have to say that again because I want people to digest it.
Yes.
All right, say that quote again, please.
Your story is not your past till date. It is your proximity to your dreams. Once you tell your story, you activate a tribe. And in that tribe, in that community, that is where all the miracle happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gbenga Ogunjimi, the author of the best-selling book, Borderless Voice. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
That was amazing.